Yeah, so when I was in that previous job with the filter, I noticed there's this white stuff on the ground. I've scraped it away to put it in the bin with a shovel, and raw sewage has just been flowing out, so that's really unpleasant. Over here, if I can step back, you can see a depression in the ground, and that's where the septic tank is. So I've just spoken to the plumber. It is the weekend, and the plumber doesn't live local, unfortunately. So he suggested I dig down, have a look at the septic tank, and see if I can get to where the inlet is. He said normally there's a plug on that, and he said it might just be that the inlet is blocked. So I am now going to see what I can do with that. But yeah, not a pleasant afternoon, but we'll see how we go. Not to go too far. This is actually a plastic tank, so if I get too carried away, I could potentially crack and break the top of the tank. Found the tank, there's the lid. We've only exposed probably half of the lid, so now I have to cut more around this area here, and then I'm going to have to probably come up here a little bit further to find the inlet. So this is one of those times that I actually have called the experts. The plumber that I would normally get, I actually have had a chat to him already, but he's recommended someone who lives locally, and they're on their way, which will be good. They'll be able to get to the root of the problem very quickly, and I'll keep digging, so that'll save some time for him digging, and I guess that time is money for me, I guess. But yeah, he'll be able to get to the source of the problem a lot quicker than I will, knowing that I actually know nothing about septic tanks or sewage systems. But look, really at the end of the day, they're pipes that has an overflow, and once we work out what's happening, whether the inlet is blocked or whether it's just full of water from all the rain that we've had. Look, we've had an extremely wet winter, wet spring. In the last 2-3 days we've had a lot of rain, which could have caused this to actually occur. So it'd be good to get some expert advice and some expert help in very shortly. See how it goes. So I've dug out most of the hole. I'm hoping the plumber will know if that's actually where the inlet does come in, because the poly pipe looks like it's actually got like a different moulding on it just there, as opposed to being the flat with the rest of the top. I've got a similar one over this side, which does sort of go over to that pit over there. So I'm going to assume, and I hope that is the inlet, but this is what I've called the plumber, so get some that expert advice, because there's a lot of dirt there to dig to try and find that pipe just quietly. But look, that's where I'm going to assume it is. So we'll see how good my guesses are, if I get my plurals right. And then, so that's the lid. I've cleared the lid, so if you want to take the lid off, you may want to check if it's full or not, but I have to say the soakage pit down below is not full of water, so I'm going to assume that this isn't full either. So I'm hoping it's just a blocked inlet, and once we unblock it, we'll be good to go. So in the end, I did call the plumbers. They came out and provided some rather expert advice, but also some very specific tools and equipment. And I won't even say tools, this is large scale gear. And like, I know this channel is all about being self-reliant, and what I've just done is the complete opposite of being self-reliant, because I've called in a couple of tradies. I actually called in the plumber that normally comes out to the house, but he doesn't live here locally, so he's given me the name of a couple other guys who actually had the specific equipment needed to fix the problem that I had. So what you're now seeing is some soakage pits. You can actually see in that soakage pit all the pipes. So essentially what happens is that, and here's the fourth one. So as we try and scan back up that hill, so we've got the bottom one and the second, third, fourth, and then it goes over to the actual pit itself. So essentially the sewage comes into the top septic tank, and then the fluid drains into these soakage pits, and from each of these soakage pits we have ag pipe that goes out 12 meters either side. So that's 12 meters either side on that one, then 12 meters either side on this one, and the same again for this one down here, and then another one down here. Now the reason why I was never going to fix this problem is that, first up, pit 3 and pit 1 I didn't even know existed. So I knew I had the second pit and this bottom pit. I knew that this pit had never worked since we've been here. It's just full of grass and what I thought was tree roots, but it's actually really thick grass roots. I know they pulled out a couple, and I've got the photos there, and you can have a look at those photos, but it looks like just one really thick snake, and like it's literally like 100 mil round, like it's the size of the pipe, and they've pulled that out. But like I knew this one never worked, so I thought that one was working up there. Yeah, so that one there, but that wasn't really working. Like it's probably getting a little bit through, and what had happened was that the water wasn't escaping out of the septic tank, and it formed a hard crust on the top from all the solids in the paper, and then what that ended up doing was blocking the inlet that comes from the house and into the septic tank itself. So they've had to get a high pressure machine, and when I tell you a high pressure machine, like you can see it in the photo there, the hoses themselves are rated at 5,000 psi, and they had the 60 meter hose connected to another 60 meter hose. So there's no way I was going to be able to fix that in a million years, really, unless I spent probably tens and tens of thousands of dollars on the piece of gear that they had, and like they're towing it around in a trailer because they're using it all the time. So look, the pit is still open. Well, when I say open, I've dug the dirt out and I'm leaving it ready for that to be emptied on Monday. Well, I'll book it in on Monday anyway. Now it probably doesn't need to be emptied as it stands now, because these pits are now working. The fluid has been allowed to get away and is now soaking out into these pipes, but I will probably empty it anyway, just to make sure that I know it's completely empty and it's now working from scratch. Because one of the problems, if I don't empty it and that hard crust doesn't break down, then it's not going to work properly still. So seeing I've gone to this much effort, I've gone to the effort of digging all that dirt out, because that was actually pretty hard to get through. Yes and no. Hard if I'm being soft, and not so hard if I'm not being soft. But anyway, we've got through it. That's now open. The guy can access it easily. When he empties it out, he can put it back on. So that's where we're at. But all up, really happy that we've got that sorted and fixed. I am glad we've got the extra 2 pits there, and that we've found them, because now I'll be able to put lids on them. So you can see this one here, I've actually just put a big stone in that so people don't fall all the way through and hit their feet on the pipes. One of them down there isn't covered, but then again, we don't have people walking around the property either, so we should be okay unless someone's trespassing. And we'll get those covers during the week, and they'll sit on top, so I'll be able to see those concrete lids, and which means they'll be easy to access and easy to inspect as well, which is great. And that'll let us know how we're going as far as the grass filling up the pipes again, because I'm sure that will happen again. But there's another job done, and I think it's, you know, it's one of those examples where you just need to be smart about what you do. You know, we can always try and fix things, and one could say plumbing is just a heap of pipe work, but without the right gear, I was never going to be able to fix that. So I think it's about being smart, knowing when to call the professionals in and when to have a crack yourself. So obviously I started having a crack, and got to the point where going, yeah, no, this is beyond my skill set, and then calling the right people in at the right time to get the right job done safely. So there's another job done. Now, trying to fix septic systems can always be a little bit tricky. Obviously, it's not a pleasant job at the best of times. But look, the guys came out, they did a great job. Now, look, I was never going to be able to fix that on my own. It took specialised equipment, and fairly dangerous equipment too, by the way. So when you've got high pressure water, it's a bit like high pressure air. You don't want to be mucking around with that. You want to know what you're doing. Look, they did do a great job. Look, I'm not too sure how long this is going to last. I'm hoping for 5 to 10 years at least would be good. But they said the grass is very aggressive and it's very strong too. So the roots are really tight and very pervasive as well. So, look, you probably saw in the video, I was actually struggling just to get the shovel to cut through the grass roots. So I'm not even talking tree roots, I'm talking about the grass. So the grass is fairly aggressive style of grass, which is nice for the lawn. And especially if things, obviously get bare patches, the grass just takes over. But when you're talking about pipes and trying to keep your pipes clear, it's not such a great thing. But anyway, look, I hope it goes well. And I'm happy that it's all now sorted out. It seems to be working okay. So what we had to do was, as we saw in the video there, clean out all the soakage pipes. But also then that next week I had to get the guy to come out and actually empty out the septic tank. So the system is now clean, empty, ready to go. So that's why I'm hoping that we can get a lot longer life out of it. Look, up until this point in time, like we've been in the property now for nearly 5 years, and that's the third time we've had to empty the tank. And while the guy who's been emptying the tank goes, oh, that's fairly normal, the plumber's actually clearing out the pipe work. We're going, no, mate, that's not normal. So it's interesting to get two different perspectives. I guess their business isn't actually emptying tanks either, so it's not in their interest to keep coming back and emptying the tanks. Yeah, so they said, look, 5 to 10 years is what you should be looking at for a tank, to, obviously just work its way through and do the things that a septic tank should be doing. The tricky one will be see how long it takes before that grass starts going back into the pipes. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button too would be great, and thanks for supporting the channel. Until next time, I'll see you then.